Welcome to Storytime English, where stories speak louder than words. Listen carefully, not just with your ears, but with your imagination. Let the story begin. Chapter 1. The Boy Who Spoke to Himself. 3 days after the video of Ayush went viral, a man in a sharp black jacket arrived at his school. He moved with an effortless confidence that distinguished him from any teacher. He looked like he'd stepped right out of a film. The principal, a picture of polite confusion, inquired, "You are?" "I am Rahul Verma. I lead Future Voices, an NGO dedicated to discovering and nurturing rural talent," he stated, a warm, professional smile gracing his lips. "And I'm here for Ayush." Within the hour, Ayush sat in the principal's office, his legs trembling beneath the imposing table. "You are truly exceptional," Rahul affirmed, his gaze steady. "Would you consider coming to Mumbai for a week? All expenses covered. We're hosting a youth communication workshop." Ayush's eyes flickered to his mother, a woman who had never even boarded a train. She returned his glance, then looked at Rahul. "Will someone be with him constantly?" she asked, her voice laced with concern. "Yes," Rahul assured her. "He will be under our team's supervision at all times." She offered a slow, careful nod. 2 days later, Ayush was on a train bound for Mumbai. The city's roar, Mumbai. Everything moved faster, sounded louder, shone brighter. He had never witnessed such a dazzling expanse of lights or so many people moving with such urgent purpose. Yet amidst the chaos, Ayush remained steadfast. His small voice recorder, a constant companion, was always ready. Every new phrase, every nuanced sentence he overheard from other students or mentors found a place in its memory. He encountered teenagers from Bangalore, Pune, even Dubai. They possessed not just fluent English, but also an unmistakable air of entitlement. A boy named Rehan sneered, "So you're the viral slum boy?" Ayush simply offered a calm smile. "Yes, I'm here to learn from all of you." Some laughed, dismissive. Others, surprisingly, respected his candidness. One mentor, however, observed something profound. During a mock speech, while others boasted about their prestigious schools or cutting-edge gadgets, Ayush declared, "My strength is hunger. Not the hunger that gnaws at your stomach, but the kind that keeps you awake at night, driving you forward." The room fell into a stunned silence. The workshop's zenith. On the final day, the mentors chose one student to deliver the closing address. Rehan fully expected it to be him, but they called Ayush's name. He walked slowly to the microphone, his gaze sweeping over the dozen cameras. "When I first arrived here, I felt insignificant. Now, I feel ready." He spoke of his relentless self-training, the arduous struggles, his audacious dreams, and his unwavering conviction that a single voice could ignite a revolution. When he finished, the entire audience rose to their feet. Even Rehan grudgingly applauded. After the session, a woman approached him. "I'm from NDTV," she announced. "We would be honored to feature your extraordinary journey." A new fire at home. Ayush returned to his slum imbued with a new, potent fire. Yet he didn't alter his routine. He still traversed the same dusty pathways, greeted the beetle leaf seller, and helped his mother with household chores. But now, every child in the slum looked at him with awe. Some followed him around, whispering, "Big brother, I want to learn English too." He smiled warmly. "Meet me tomorrow evening, on the rooftop." And so began the evening English circle. No chairs, no whiteboard, just a cluster of eager children and an unyielding will to learn. He taught them the way he had taught himself, by recording voices, practicing in the mirror, and talking aloud. He made the learning process enjoyable, making it their own. Slowly, word spread like wildfire. Teachers from other schools came to observe his informal classes. A local YouTuber featured his unconventional teaching. Ayush was no longer merely the boy who spoke English. He was the boy who made others believe they could too. Chapter 2. The Scholarship. Ayush sat by the window of his cramped one-room home, watching the sky transform from a fiery orange to a deep indigo. The air was thick with humidity, but his mind remained unburdened. A notification blinked on his second-hand phone. Congratulations! You have been shortlisted for the International Student Exchange Scholarship, New York. The phone slipped from his grasp. "Mother!" he screamed, his voice raw with disbelief. She rushed in, her hands still damp from washing dishes. "Look! Look!" he urged, handing her the phone. She couldn't read English, but the ecstasy on his face spoke volumes. "Is it true?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. He nodded, tears welling in his eyes. "It's a huge opportunity, Mother. I can go to America." She sank slowly onto the floor, stunned into silence. "But how?" she finally managed. Ayush explained. Anirudh Kapoor, the benevolent businessman who had pledged to sponsor his education, had secretly submitted his name to an international youth leadership program. They had meticulously reviewed his NDTV feature, his impactful speech videos, and the footage of his rooftop teaching circle. The offer was a full 3-month scholarship to attend a youth leadership boot camp in New York, alongside students from 20 different countries. He had precisely 1 month to prepare. The passport battle. Nothing in Ayush's life had ever come easily, not even a passport. The local office rejected his application twice, first for insufficient identification, then for a discrepancy in his birth certificate. Ayush endured countless trips, stood in interminable lines for hours, collected affidavits, and even sought the intervention of the local member of Legislative Assembly. But he never surrendered. When he finally held the precious passport in his hand, he didn't smile. He simply looked up at the sky. "Father, you're watching, aren't you?" First flight. The airplane was an immense metal bird. His heart pounded as it lifted off the ground, ascending swiftly. He gazed out the window. The slum, the dust, the minuscule homes, all vanished from view, replaced by an endless expanse of clouds. He took a deep, shuddering breath. "This isn't just a journey," he whispered to himself. "This is transformation." Arrival in New York. Bright lights, freezing air, towering glass buildings, and faces that bore no resemblance to his own. A man in a crisp suit held a sign. Ayush Sharma, India. He joined a small cluster of students, one from Nigeria, another from Japan, a third from Canada. Each introduced themselves in rapid, impeccably clear English. Ayush took another fortifying breath. "Hi, I'm Ayush, from Mumbai, India." They smiled, welcoming. Clash of cultures. In the workshop sessions, Ayush keenly felt the vast chasm between their worlds. One girl casually discussed her summer trips to Italy. Another elaborated on coding robots at age 10. When Ayush shared his own narrative, recording lessons on a broken phone, teaching from a tin roof, the room hushed. A boy from France observed, "You are real. You've experienced what most of us only read about in books." For the first time, Ayush wasn't striving to blend in. He was standing out simply by being himself. Chapter 3. The Invisible Wall. Did you catch that New York Times op-ed on AI and education? My father's startup is expanding rapidly in Singapore and Berlin. We're interning with a UN-backed think tank this summer. Ayush listened, his mind racing. In my opinion, poor students can... It's economically marginalized, not poor, a sharp voice corrected. He paused. Am I out of place? He mused inwardly. No, a mentor's voice cut through his thoughts. You're out of your comfort zone. There's a crucial difference. Stay. Grow. Look, someone exclaimed, pointing at a new proposal. Is that even viable? Sounds like charity with no scale. Ayush, his voice firm, countered. I've witnessed 30 kids in a slum share one phone and still learn. Scale isn't about technology, it's about belief. He continued, his voice gaining strength. I was once a boy who spoke to walls. Now I'm building a bridge so others don't have to. The mentor, impressed, asked, Add audio recorders to the next delivery batch. The pilot version of the app is ready. You actually built it? Someone asked, incredulous. Yes, Ayush confirmed. The bridge is real now. You've become a symbol of New India. What keeps you grounded? The rhythmic sound of broken slippers on narrow lanes, he replied, his gaze distant. And the quiet despair of children who still believe they aren't enough. He looked directly at his peers, his voice ringing with conviction. I'm not here because I'm poor. I'm here because I fought. I didn't ask for sympathy. I built something. I made others believe. His voice hardened slightly. And if that makes you uncomfortable, perhaps it's time to examine your privilege. Not my story. A hesitant voice offered. I still don't agree with all your views, but you've earned this spot. From rooftops to Switzerland, you are ready. Ayush emphasized, education shouldn't be confined to those born in the right postcode. It should seek out the voices willing to scream in silence. He added, don't just fund schools. Fund students who build schools in their slums. Messages from home echoed in his mind. Big brother, I speak English in school now. People don't laugh anymore. I'm also thinking of making an app. I want to be like you. He understood profoundly. Speech is power, not just words. Voice is identity. Chapter 4. The Voice and the Vote. The Minister's Visit. It began with an unexpected phone call. Mr. Ayush, this is Assistant Secretary Gupta from the Ministry of Youth Affairs. The minister would like to meet you. Ayush was unsure whether to feel proud or suspicious. At the opulent Mumbai airport lounge, the minister arrived, flanked by cameras and laden with bouquets. You've accomplished what our systems failed to do in decades, he declared, beaming. He presented Ayush with a sleek folder. Inside lay a proposal. VoiceBridge was to be adopted as a national youth program under the Skill India initiative. On paper, it appeared flawless. But as Ayush scrutinized the fine print, a crucial detail emerged. The app would be co-branded with the ruling party's name. His name, the very essence of the project, would vanish. He closed the folder. I'll consider it. The backlash. Within a week, news leaked that Ayush had rejected the prestigious proposal. Some lauded his unwavering integrity. Others, however, condemned him as arrogant. A TV panelist scoffed. Who is this 19-year-old to decline a national offer? Is this ego or sheer ignorance? Ayush remained stoically silent, until a message arrived from a boy in a Bihar slum. Big brother, don't make a mistake. If even you give in, whom can we trust? That night, Ayush went live on his channel. I refuse for VoiceBridge to be draped in any color or bear any party logo. It belongs to every child, not just those who vote a certain way. The video garnered an astonishing 8 million views within 24 hours. A shadow offer. Late one evening, an unmarked letter appeared under his hostel door. Inside, an invitation to a private gathering, high-impact leaders' circle, to be held at a 5-star hotel. When he entered, only 10 individuals were present. Prominent startup founders, influential social media icons, and one person who made him freeze, the daughter of a former prime minister. She smiled, a predatory glint in her eyes. You've shaken the country, Ayush, but now it's time to shape it. She offered him a coveted slot in a new political party, youth-led and reform-driven. We need fresh passion. You'll lead the education cell. A national election ticket within 3 years. It was an undeniably tempting proposition. The dilemma. Ayush walked alone that night, the sea breeze a cool balm on his face, the marine drive's glow illuminating his path. His mind drifted to his students on the rooftop, to Luis, to Rebecca, and to his mother, still meticulously folding clothes in the dim yellow light of their home. Politics offered the potential to amplify his impact immeasurably, but it also carried the perilous risk of engulfing his unique voice. He sat on a solitary bench and whispered to himself, just as he once had when he spoke only to walls. If your voice becomes merely an echo, was it ever truly yours? The decision. The next morning, he declined the offer. Instead, he made a radical announcement. We are launching Open Voice Network, a platform where youth from villages can lead their own campaigns, develop their own ideas, and craft their own solutions without waiting for politicians. His mantra, not left, not right, just loud, trended for days. International ripple. The United Nations invited him to co-chair the Global Youth Action Council. Both Harvard and Oxford extended honorary fellowships, but Ayush's reply was firm. Respectfully, I choose my rooftop school. They need me more. One last frame. Ayush stood on the same rooftop, surrounded by 34 eager children. He pointed to the moon, a silver disk in the night sky, and posed a question. What do you think is more powerful, that moon or your voice? A young girl, her eyes alight with understanding, replied, Voice, because the moon shines only at night, but a voice never stops. He smiled, a deep, contented smile. Yes, and it's time we make sure the world hears it. Chapter 5. The day the voice broke. Silence on the rooftop. The rooftop classroom fell silent. Ayush stood before the children, a piece of chalk poised in his hand, but no words emerged. He coughed, tried again. Nothing. Luis, his ever-observant friend, was the first to notice. Brother, what happened? Ayush touched his throat, then slowly shook his head. No pain, just a profound absence of sound. He scrawled on the chalkboard, I cannot speak today. Let us listen instead. The class sat in hushed anticipation as he communicated through gestures, quick scribbles, and pre-recorded audio lessons. It worked to an extent, but something vital had broken within him. 2. The doctor's prognosis. They journeyed to the city clinic. The doctor, a kind-faced woman, ran a scope down Ayush's throat. Your vocal cords are severely inflamed. Overuse, stress. You require complete vocal rest. Luis, his face etched with worry, asked, For how long? A few weeks, the doctor replied. Perhaps more. Ayush felt a chilling numbness spread through him. His greatest tool, his voice, was gone. 3. The mirror's reflection. That night, Ayush sat before a mirror, his voice recorder in hand. He pressed play. Nothing. Then, he typed on his phone. Can I still teach without speaking? He watched his reflection, devoid of movement, devoid of emotion. Then, a spark ignited. He grabbed a sketch pad and began to draw a face. Wide eyes, a closed mouth, but a vibrant spark dancing within the eyes. Beneath it, he added text. Sometimes, silence is the loudest voice. He posted it on his social media page. It immediately went viral. 4. Teaching with eyes. Ayush returned to class, not with a microphone, but with markers. He communicated through expressive gestures, clear signs, and vivid drawings. He demonstrated to the children how to convey meaning without uttering a single word. They laughed, they mimicked, they learned. The slum children began to call him the silent teacher. 5. The inner voice emerges days melted into weeks. Ayush found his own thoughts growing louder, clearer. He began to write poetry, insightful observations, poignant stories. One particular story, The Boy Who Taught Without Speaking, captured significant attention. A prominent magazine picked it up. Ayush's message resonated. Even without a voice, you can still be heard. 6. The breaking point. Yet deep inside, he was breaking. One night he wept, not from physical pain, but from the raw ache of missing his former self. Louise sat beside him, offering quiet solace. Brother, your voice is gone. Not you. Ayush offered a weak smile. But I was my voice, Louise. Louise shook his head firmly. You are hope. Your voice was just a means to deliver it. 7. The birth of VoiceBridge. During this period of profound silence, an extraordinary idea began to take shape. An application, a digital platform where children could record their voices, practice English, and receive valuable feedback. He named it VoiceBridge. He meticulously sketched the user interface, found dedicated volunteers online, and pitched the concept to a local NGO. They embraced it wholeheartedly. Funding began to flow, and development commenced. Ayush, the boy who had lost his voice, was now building one for millions. 8. The return of sound. It returned slowly, hesitantly. One morning, while testing the beta version of the app, he whispered, "Welcome to VoiceBridge." His voice cracked, but it was there. Luis, overwhelmed with emotion, wept openly. 9. Launch day. Hundreds gathered. The media swarmed. Ayush walked purposefully to the stage. No microphone. He simply raised his hand and the expectant crowd quieted. I once believed my voice was my power, he declared, his voice still a little raspy but clear. But I was mistaken. My silence taught me what words never could. He launched the app. Downloads flooded in, a testament to his vision. 10. An invitation. That night, a letter arrived. We have closely followed your remarkable journey. We would be honored to invite you to Oxford University as a youth keynote speaker for Global Voices Week. Dr. Eleanor Briggs. Ayush looked at Luis, who grinned broadly. Brother, your voice will now reach every corner of the world. Chapter 6. The invitation from the West 11. The email that changed everything. It was an ordinary Mumbai morning. The clear sky, a gentle canopy over his rooftop classroom. Ayush had just finished teaching, his voice slowly but surely regaining its strength, enough to articulate what truly mattered. He checked his inbox on an old donated laptop. The subject line jolted him. Keynote invitation, Oxford Global Voices Week. He blinked, reading it again. The sender was Dr. Eleanor Briggs, a globally renowned education reformer based in the UK. Dear Ayush, the email began, we have been captivated by your journey. Your courage resonates louder than any microphone. We would be profoundly honored to have you as our keynote speaker at the Global Voices Week, held at Oxford University. All travel, visa, and accommodation expenses will be meticulously arranged by our team. We eagerly await your confirmation. Ayush's hand froze. He had never once left India. He immediately called Luis, his voice trembling with a mixture of awe and disbelief. They've invited me to the UK for a keynote speech. Luis first laughed, then let out a triumphant scream. Brother, your voice is now reaching London. 12. The Passport Odyssey. But the path to this prestigious invitation was fraught with familiar obstacles. Ayush didn't even possess a birth certificate. He navigated the labyrinthine corridors of government offices, stood in endless queues, and faced skeptical, sometimes openly dismissive, officers. One official scoffed, Oxford? You? Another mocked his accent. Yet Ayush possessed a deep reservoir of patience, not born of weakness, but of an unwavering focus on his goal. 2 weeks later, his passport arrived, his very first. His mother gently touched the document, a tear tracing a path down her weathered cheek. If only your father could have seen this, she whispered. He simply hugged her, a silent promise in the embrace. 13. Arrival at Heathrow. The airplane itself was beyond anything he could have imagined. The chill of the cabin air, the crisp English announcements, the unfamiliar food. He finally disembarked at Heathrow Airport and spotted a sign. Mr. Ayush Bansal. The driver, a polite Englishman, greeted him. Welcome to the UK, sir. Sir? Ayush couldn't help but smile. 14. Oxford's grandeur. The university stretched before him like a waking dream, ancient stone towers reaching towards the sky, ivy clinging to historic walls, students gliding past on bicycles. He met Dr. Eleanor in person, a tall woman in a long coat, moving with brisk purpose, her eyes radiating warmth and kindness. We are absolutely thrilled to have you, Ayush, she said. The world desperately needs more stories like yours. She introduced him to the panel of global education reformers, an esteemed group including individuals from Brazil, Nigeria, and South Korea. Each had founded or built something monumentally significant in the field of education. Ayush was by far the youngest among them. What you have built is not merely a platform, Ayush, one remarked. It is a genuine movement. However, one face in the room sent a jolt of ice through Ayush, Samir Narang, the very Indian government official who had summarily shut down VoiceBridge. Here he was now, remarkably rebranded as a consultant on rural language learning. Samir extended his hand, a saccharine smile on his face. No hard feelings, right? Ayush shook it, his expression carefully neutral, devoid of any returning smile. 15. The resounding speech. At the main hall, students, academics, and leaders filled every seat to capacity. Ayush walked slowly to the podium. This time he didn't even need a microphone. His voice, fully recovered and resonant, carried through the vast space. I come from a place where children write essays on torn notebooks and dream in languages they are never explicitly taught to speak. He continued, his voice echoing with conviction. But I learned that true fluency isn't just about mastering English. It's about being heard. It's about reclaiming the silence that once held us captive. His closing words hung in the air. I once lost my voice. Now I teach others to find theirs. He spoke for 18 minutes, and once again, he received a thunderous standing ovation. 16. Eleanor's generous offer. That night over dinner, Dr. Eleanor presented him with an extraordinary offer. I want you to stay, Ayush, for at least a year. We will sponsor your entire stay. You will delve into leadership in education, train rigorously with our team, and then return to India to cultivate 1,000 more Ayushas. Ayush didn't respond immediately. He stepped outside into the cool evening air and called his mother. She listened silently, then, her voice soft but firm, said, "No matter where your voice goes, son, your heart must remain in India." He smiled, a poignant ache in his chest. "Mother, I'm taking my heart with me, to learn, and then to bring it back." 17. Resistance from home news quickly spread in India. Slum boy to Oxford scholar. But not everyone celebrated his success. A torrent of online trolls began questioning his journey. NGOs always fabricate sob stories. Oxford won't build our nation. Just another English worshiper. Ayush didn't engage with the venom. Instead, he saved every hateful comment. As fuel. 18. Lessons in silence. Oxford transformed him, not by reshaping him into a new person, but by illuminating the extraordinary individual he already was. He absorbed global policy. He learned how remote African villages effectively utilized radio dramas for language acquisition. He met brilliant linguists who underscored the profound power of listening. Before you teach, one advised, listen to what they have already been told. He wrote daily, filling notebooks with his thoughts. He even began a private podcast, not for public consumption, but simply to record his reflections. Today I walked through a corridor lined with Shakespeare quotes, but I missed the vibrant voices from my slum even more. 19. The quiet return. Exactly 1 year later he returned. But this time, he made no grand announcement. He walked quietly through the familiar dusty lanes. The children still gathered on the rooftop. One spotted him and shrieked with delight, "Big Brother is back!" They swarmed him, showering him with hugs. Luis appeared, his eyes brimming with tears he fought to hold back. "Next project?" he asked, his voice thick with emotion. Ayush looked around at the eager faces. "India doesn't need heroes, Luis. It needs bridges. Let's build them." Chapter 7. The Betrayal Within 20. The New Mission, Yuva Bridge. Ayush no longer yearned to be a mere speaker. He wanted to be a builder. He launched Yuva Bridge, an ambitious new fellowship program designed to train 100 rural teenagers in the crucial skills of public speaking, compelling storytelling, and authentic leadership. Each fellow, upon completing the rigorous program, would return to their respective villages and establish their own communication hubs. The inaugural batch hailed from diverse corners of India: Kashmir, Manipur, Jharkhand, and rural Maharashtra. They lived together, trained together, and shared simple meals in a communal kitchen, fostering a deep camaraderie. Luis, with his unwavering loyalty, became the program coordinator. "Brother, we're touching 100 corners of India," he remarked one night. Ayush smiled, his gaze distant. "And one day, every corner will find its own voice." 21. The Rising Star, Imran Shaikh. Among the fellows, a young man named Imran Shaikh, from a conflict-prone town in Uttar Pradesh, quickly distinguished himself. He was undeniably charming, fluent in 3 languages, and possessed a remarkable knack for understanding technology. Within weeks, Imran emerged as the unofficial leader among the fellows. He began creating captivating reels and posting frequent updates about the program on social media. They quickly went viral, attracting widespread attention. Ayush noticed his protégé's growing prominence. "You're exceptionally talented, Imran," he advised gently. "But remember, this initiative is about them, not us." Imran nodded, a seemingly sincere agreement. "Of course, big brother." Yet, a subtle disquiet settled in Ayush's mind. Something felt off. 22nd. Voice Bridge 2.0 and the shocking leak. Meanwhile, Ayush meticulously planned the launch of Voice Bridge 2.0, an enhanced version featuring regional language support, peer mentors, and gamified practice exercises. He pitched to eager investors, generating massive interest. But just 1 week before the highly anticipated launch, disaster struck. The app leaked online. Not just leaked, but meticulously rebranded. The same features, the identical user interface, but under a new name, Speak for All. The publisher, Imran Shaikh, 23. The rooftop confrontation, Ayush did not scream, did not lash out. He simply summoned Imran to the rooftop, the familiar training ground now imbued with a heavy tension. "I trusted you," Ayush stated, his voice quiet but laced with profound disappointment. Imran, to Ayush's shock, was utterly unapologetic. "You built your name from struggle, big brother. I'm merely doing the same. I was faster, smarter. That's not betrayal. That's ambition." Ayush's response was equally quiet, yet devastatingly clear. "If ambition kills trust, it was never leadership, it was ego." He turned and walked away, leaving Imran standing alone. 24. The fallout and Ayush's silence. The media seized upon the scandal with relish. Headlines blared, "VoiceBridge founder duped by own trainee." Mentorship or misuse. Investors, spooked by the controversy, withdrew their support. The fellowship program, once so promising, was abruptly paused. Ayush remained silent for days, an unsettling quiet that worried Luis. "Brother, why aren't you speaking?" Luis asked, his voice a plea. Ayush finally replied, his gaze distant. "I'm observing, I'm understanding, and I'm writing." 25. The public letter to Imran Ayush then penned a public letter. Not a legal notice, but a powerful, poignant story. He titled it, "To the Boy I Believed In." In it, he candidly recounted their shared journey, the profound trust he had placed, the painful mistake, and the subsequent heartbreak. "You didn't steal an idea," he wrote. "You stole a bridge. I hope one day you learn to build instead of taking." The letter went viral, not fueled by anger, but by the raw power of truth. Comments poured in. "This is true leadership. He taught even in betrayal." "Ayush is greater than any algorithm." 26. The resurgence. The real response. Then something utterly unexpected happened. Dozens of former fellows from every corner of the country returned. They declared with unwavering conviction, "We didn't join because of the app. We joined because of you." They began to rebuild the Yuva Bridge model from the ground up. No funding, no external support, just an unyielding, burning fire within them. 27. The international call. A year later, Ayush received a call from UNESCO. "We would like to appoint you as a youth peace ambassador," the voice on the other end stated. "Your story, particularly your act of forgiveness, has inspired a global classroom project." Luis's eyebrows shot up. "Brother, Your voice has reached the UN. Ayush smiled, a quiet satisfaction in his eyes. But this time, the voice wasn't just mine. It was the voice of everyone who refused to give up. 28th. Final scene. The rooftop. Back on the familiar rooftop, surrounded by 40 new, eager children, Ayush sat cross-legged. He held a blank notebook. "You want to speak better?" he asked gently. "Start by writing who you are. Not in English, in truth." The children began scribbling, their faces alight with newfound purpose. Ayush looked up at the sky, his voice now steady and strong. Chapter 8. The Final Speech. 29. The Geneva Invitation and a Mother's Strength. A year passed, bringing with it a formal envelope bearing the distinguished seal of the World Youth Impact Forum, Why If, Geneva. Ayush had been invited as a keynote speaker. The youngest ever. Luis read the letter aloud, his excitement palpable, before pulling Ayush into a tight hug. "This is the magic of your voice, brother," he exclaimed. But Ayush's smile faded. His mother was unwell, her illness a secret she had bravely kept from him. "You must go," she whispered weakly, her hand trembling in his. "This is just the beginning." He held her hand tighter. "When I return, I'll take you there too. I promise." 30. The Geneva Stage and a Heart's Emptiness. In Geneva, the Grand Hall was a dream made real. Thousands of delegates, dozens of flashing cameras. Ayush walked slowly to the microphone, his gaze sweeping over the expectant crowd. Then he spoke, his voice clear and resonant. "I am not a student from an English medium school. Yet today, the world listens to me." He spoke of belief, of the sting of betrayal, and the quiet triumph of rebuilding. He concluded with a powerful message. A voice is not given. It is discovered. And once you find it, use it for others. A standing ovation erupted. But in the sea of faces, Ayush noticed an empty chair. His mother had passed away that very morning. 31. The return home and a renewed vow. Back home, he scattered her ashes into the river, a final, poignant farewell. Then he sat on the rooftop, the very spot where his extraordinary journey had begun. Luis sat beside him, offering silent companionship. "Will you stop now?" Luis asked, his voice hesitant. Ayush looked out at the familiar skyline, his resolve unbroken. "No," he replied, his voice firm. "Now I have to speak even more, with the strength of her memories." 32. The outro. Your voice matters. And now, dear viewer, the reason you heard this story is because you matter. Yes, you, the one who doubts, who hides, who yearns to speak, but trembles. Remember what Ayush did? He didn't wait for perfect English. He didn't wait for permission. He didn't wait at all. He simply began. So here's what you need to do. Record yourself speaking. Talk to your mirror. Write your own story. And if this narrative stirred anything within you, hope, courage, even tears, then don't keep it to yourself. Share it. Comment your favorite part below. Subscribe to this channel. Because here we don't just tell stories. We build voices, and yours might be next. Thank you for staying until the end. Now go, speak, change.